Thus did Bodhisattva Maitreya wonder to himself, becoming so puzzled that he was unable to utter a sound. But, perhaps through the Buddha's power, he was at last able to put his doubts into words, saying, "Immeasurable thousands, 10,000s, millions, a great host of bodhisattvas such as was never seen in the past." This host of bodhisattvas with their great dignity, virtue, and diligence, who preached the law for them? Who taught and converted them and brought them to this? Under whom did they first set their minds on enlightenment? What Buddha's law do they praise and proclaim? World-honored one, from times past I have seen nothing like this. I beg you to tell me where they come from, the name of the land. I have constantly journeyed from land to land, but never have I seen such a thing. In this whole multitude, there is not one person that I know. Suddenly they have come up from the earth. I beg you to explain the cause. Paraphrasing Maitreya's statement, Tiantai comments, since the time of the Buddha's enlightenment at the place of meditation, up until the present gathering, great bodhisattvas unceasingly came from the worlds in the 10 directions to attend the various assemblies. Their numbers are unlimited, but I, with the wisdom and power appropriate to the next Buddha, have been able to see and know every single one of them. And yet, among the newly arrived multitude, I do not know a single person, this, in spite of the fact that I have traveled in the 10 directions, have served the various Buddhas, and am well known among their audiences. Mao Lo comments, wise men can perceive the cause of things, as snakes know the way of snakes. The meaning of these passages of scripture and commentary is perfectly clear. In effect, from the time of Shakyamuni's enlightenment up until the present assembly on Eagle Peak, in this land and in all the lands of the 10 directions, Bodhisattva Maitreya had never seen or heard of these bodhisattvas who came forth from the earth. The Buddha, replying to Maitreya's doubts, said, Ajita, these bodhisattvas, whom you have never seen before in the past, when I had attained supreme perfect enlightenment in this Saha world, I converted and guided these bodhisattvas, trained their minds, and caused them to develop a longing for the way. He also said, when I was in the vicinity of the city of Gaya, seated beneath the Bodhi tree, I attained the highest, the correct enlightenment and turned the wheel of the unsurpassed law. Thereafter I taught and converted them, and caused them for the first time to set their minds on the way. Now all of them dwell in the stage of non-regression. Ever since the long distant past I have been teaching and converting this multitude. But Maitreya and the other great bodhisattvas were further perplexed by these words of the Buddha. When the Buddha preached the Flower Garland Sutra, Dharma Wisdom and countless other great bodhisattvas appeared in the assembly. Maitreya and the others wondered who they could be, but the Buddha said, they are my good friends, and they thought this must be true. Later, when the Buddha preached the Great Collection Sutra at the Great Treasure Chamber and the Larger Wisdom Sutra at White Heron Lake, great bodhisattvas appeared in the assembly, and Maitreya and the others supposed that they too were good friends of the Buddha. But these great bodhisattvas who had newly appeared out of the earth looked incomparably more venerable than those earlier bodhisattvas. One might conclude that they were the teachers of Shakyamuni Buddha, and yet the Buddha had caused them for the first time to set their minds on the way, and, when they were still immature, had converted them and made them his disciples. It was this that Maitreya and the others found so profoundly perplexing. Prince Shotoku of Japan was the son of Emperor Yamei, the 32nd sovereign. When he was 6 years old, elderly men came to Japan from the states of Pekch and Koguryo in Korea and from the land of China. The 6-year-old prince thereupon exclaimed, "These are my disciples." And the old men in turn pressed their palms together in reverence and said, "You are our teacher." This was a strange happening indeed. There is a similar story found in a secular work. According to this work, a man was walking along a road when he saw by the roadside a young man of about 30 who was beating an old man of about 80. When he asked the reason, the young man replied, "This old man is my son." Bodhisattva Maitreya, continuing to doubt, said, "World-honored one, when the thus come one was crowned prince, you left the palace of the Shakyas and sat in the place of meditation not far from the city of Gaya, and there attained supreme perfect enlightenment. Barely 40 years or more have passed since then. World-honored one, how in that short time could you have accomplished so much work as a Buddha?" The various bodhisattvas who had attended the numerous assemblies held in the 40-some years since the Buddha preached the Flower Garland Sutra had raised doubts at each assembly, asking the Buddha to dispel these doubts for the benefit of the multitude. But this present doubt was the greatest doubt of all. It surpassed even the doubt entertained by Great Adornment and the others of the 80,000 bodhisattvas described in the Immeasurable Meanings Sutra when the Buddha, after declaring in the previous 40-some years of his teaching that enlightenment was something that required countless kalpas to attain, now announced that it could be attained quickly. According to the Meditation on the Buddha Infinite Life Sutra, King Ajatashatru, led astray by Devadatta, imprisoned his father and was on the point of killing his mother, Lady Vaidehi. Reprimanded by the court ministers Jivaka and Chandraprabha, however, he spared his mother's life. At that time, she begged that the Buddha appear to her, and then she began by posing this question: "What offense have I committed in the past that I should have given birth to this evil son? And, world-honored one, through what cause have you come to be related to a person as evil as your cousin Devadatta?" Of the doubts raised here, the second is the more perplexing, the question of why the Buddha should be related to an evil person like Devadatta. Our wheel-turning king, we are told, is never born into the world along with his enemies, nor is the god Chakra to be found in the company of demons. The Buddha had been a merciful personage for countless kalpas. Yet the fact that Shakyamuni was born together with his archenemy might make one doubt whether he was indeed a Buddha at all. The Buddha, however, did not answer the question of Lady Vaidehi. Therefore, if one reads and recites only the Meditation Sutra and does not examine the Devadatta chapter of the Lotus Sutra, one will never know the truth of the matter. In the Nirvana Sutra, Bodhisattva Kashyapa posed 36 questions to the Buddha, but even these cannot compare to this question posed by Maitreya. If the Buddha had failed to dispel Maitreya's doubts, the sacred teachings of his entire lifetime would have amounted to no more than froth on the water, and all living beings would have remained tangled in the snare of doubt. That was why it was so important for him to preach the Lifespan chapter. Later, when the Buddha preached the Lifespan chapter, he said, "In all the worlds the heavenly and human beings and asuras all believe that the present Shakyamuni Buddha, after leaving the palace of the Shakyas, seated himself in the place of meditation not far from the city of Gaya and there attained supreme perfect enlightenment." This passage expresses the view held by all the great bodhisattvas and the rest of the multitude from the time of the Buddha's first preaching at the place of enlightenment until his preaching of the Peaceful Practices chapter of the Lotus Sutra. But, good men, the Buddha continued, it has been immeasurable, boundless hundreds, thousands, 10 of thousands, millions of nayutas of kalpas. Since I in fact attained Buddhahood,